We wanted to jump on and start off with some news that we just received from Austin Public Health regarding some positive COVID-19 cases here in the Austin area. What we now hear is that a group of spring breakers went from Austin to Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, and they went more than a week ago to that area for spring break. They chartered a flight from what Austin Public Health is telling us, and that group has now come back to this area, and 28 of approximately 70 people on that trip have now tested positive for COVID-19. I want to show you all really quickly what we know so far, just to reiterate some of that information at this time. Take a look. There's a lot of text on the screen there, but we're going to go through it and walk you through what we know. First point there, approximately 70 people in their 20s traveled to Mexico more than a week ago for spring break. Again, this was on a chartered flight. 28 of those people on that trip have now returned and tested positive for COVID-19. Dozens more are now under public health investigation by Austin Public Health. And finally, 4 of the confirmed cases did not show any symptoms. What we also know from Austin Public Health is that those people who have now tested positive are in self-isolation at this point, every single one of them. So that's some information to pass along about that. We heard from Austin Public Health officials as well. They're weighing in and saying this particular example shows that the warnings and the restrictions about non-essential travel should be reinforced at this point. If you take a look at this statement from the Interim Health Authority for Austin Travis County, Dr. Mark Escott, he says, quote, "The virus often hides in the healthy and is given to those who are at grave risk of being hospitalized or dying. While younger people have less risk for complications, they are not immune from severe illness and death from COVID-19. He went on to point out that nearly half of those testing positive for COVID-19 in Austin Travis County are between the ages of 20 and 40. Again, young people can be affected by this and spread it to others. We also have heard from the University of Texas at Austin, the statement that was sent out by Austin Public Health, which we have right here, had stated that UT Austin's medical staff was helping out with some of the tracing. So we wanted to ask some questions, and we found out from UT Austin that many of these cases are UT students. And if you take a look at this statement in particular, this is from the University of Texas at Austin. It reads, "The university is working closely with Austin Public Health to assist in contact tracing. The incident is a reminder of the vital importance of taking seriously the warnings of public health authorities on the risk of becoming infected with COVID-19 and spreading it to others." So just to reiterate what we have, the information that has come into our newsroom within the last 30 minutes or so, and we have a web story about this on our website, kxan.com, and the KXAN News app. We now know that a group of about 70 young people traveled to Mexico last week for spring break on a chartered flight. They have since returned, and about 28 of that group of 70 have now tested positive for COVID-19. This is the information that we know at this point, and I apologize if you've been watching our stream for a little bit, but we wanted to reiterate the facts that we know at this point. Again, approximately 70 people in their 20s went to Mexico more than a week ago for spring break on a chartered flight. Some of them returned, and now 28 people on that trip have tested positive for COVID-19. According to Austin Public Health, some of those people came back on a chartered flight, but others came back commercially. And they are working to try to trace the contacts and get in touch with people who may have come into close contact with these young people. Dozens are now under investigation by public health investigators, and 4 of the confirmed cases did not show any particular symptoms. Important to note that here in Austin Travis County, nearly half of those who have tested positive for COVID-19 are young people between the ages of 20 and 40, so they are at risk not only of getting themselves sick, but others as well. We know from Austin Public Health that those people who are part of this cluster of positive cases are all under self-isolation. They are all quarantined, everyone that was involved with this trip at this point, and they are being monitored very, very closely. We should say as well that there have been travel restrictions that have been named not only by the State Department, the U.S. State Department, but also here locally in Texas, to say that if you don't have to travel for something that is non-essential, like this particular trip, this is the definition of non-essential travel, do not do it. You see the risk that this poses now because these young people have gotten sick and may have exposed other people, which is currently under investigation in this case. I'll also say that Governor Greg Abbott signed some new executive orders regarding air travel and people who are even traveling by car. And if you take a look here, again, this is a lot of text to go through, but we want to reiterate because it's some important information. These executive orders are for travelers to Texas. As you see right there, any air traveler from these particular places must self-quarantine for 14 days. That includes Miami, Atlanta, Detroit, Chicago, California, Washington, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and the city of New Orleans. And at the bottom of your screen there, you can see that any person who's traveling by car, so any road traveler from Louisiana, will also have to self-quarantine for 2 weeks. All of these travelers will have to fill out forms with the Department of Public Safety, and they could be checked upon to make sure they're still maintaining and abiding by that self-quarantine order. These are relatively new executive orders that went into effect this week, and there may be future changes because the governor is holding a press conference at 2 o'clock this afternoon. We will carry that live. It's unclear what he's going to be speaking about exactly. Some of the other officials that have joined him for previous press conferences, including the Commissioner for the Department of State Health Services and the Chief of the Texas Division of Emergency Management, they are going to be joining the governor. So there may be additional executive orders to announce and to share. So please follow along with us. We're going to be streaming it live on Facebook, so the KXAN News Facebook page, the KXAN website, kxan.com, and the KXAN News app, which you can download for free right here on your smartphone. So please put that handy as we deal with this and share more information about this. For those of you just joining us, we're going to reiterate one more time what we found out here in the last hour or so from Austin Public Health. There is a cluster of spring break trip takers who have gone to Mexico on a chartered flight and then have returned now to our area, and 28 of the people on that trip have now tested positive for COVID-19, and dozens more are now under public health investigation and being monitored in self-isolation. Here are the details. Approximately 70 people in their 20s traveled to Mexico for spring break more than a week ago. 28 of those people have now come back and tested positive for COVID-19. Dozens more are under investigation now by public health investigators, and 4 of those confirmed cases did not show any symptoms at this time. Austin Public Health. The interim public health authority for this area, Dr. Mark Escott, released this statement saying the virus often hides in the healthy and is given to those who are at grave risk of being hospitalized or dying. While younger people have less risk for complications, they are not immune from severe illness and death from COVID-19. They are often those who put other people, the most vulnerable, the elderly, the infirmed, at risk by exposing them to the virus. And finally, we were able to confirm with the University of Texas at Austin that many of the people on that trip are UT students here in this area. And this is the statement that UT Austin sent us. The university is working closely with Austin Public Health to assist in contact tracing. The incident is a reminder of the vital importance of taking seriously the warnings of public health authorities on the risk of becoming infected with COVID-19 and spreading it to others. If you'd like to read more about this particular story, we do have a web story up on our website, kxan.com, and on the KXAN News app. It's the top story at this moment because we just got these details in. I will say that we have some updated numbers as well from Central Texas. If you take a look here, the numbers keep going up. Travis County now stands at 206 cases with 2 deaths related to COVID-19. Williamson County, it stands at 42 with 1 death reported there. And Hays County jumped to 24 cases in the last day or so. If you take a look across our entire viewing area, so these are all of the counties that are reached by KXAN at this point, you can see that Hays, Travis, and Williamson counties have the most, and then followed by Bastrop has 6, Burnett has 3, Fayette has 2, and there's also 3 in Llano and 2 in Milam at this point. We are continually following the numbers that are released by the health departments in these counties to try to share the most accurate numbers with you all as possible. And across the state, for a bigger snapshot, if we zoom out a little more, there are now more than 3,000 positive cases of COVID-19 here in Texas. 46 deaths are now reported, and the Department of State Health Services is saying that more than 35,000, almost 36,000 people have now been tested for the virus here in our state. We appreciate you all following along with our reporting as we get new information. We've been trying to share it as quickly and as accurately as possible. We thank you for paying attention and really taking it upon yourself to protect yourself by staying at home and following those personal and self-hygiene guidelines that are out there at the moment. Also, if you can stay at home, please do. That stay-at-home order is in effect here in our area for a reason, and we will keep sharing new details as they come along. I'm Will Dupree, once again in the KXAN Live studio. We will be carrying Governor Greg Abbott's press conference that he's going to hold at 2 o'clock. It's happening at the state capitol, and we will share that on our KXAN News Facebook page, kxan.com, and the KXAN News app, so we hope you'll join us then. For now, I'm going to take down our stream, and we'll see you back here in just a little while.